What's up, guys? It's Emmy, the Azura Media Club, back again with another video. That's my intro for the other channel. God damn it, I always do that. Anyway, Bug's Life. Look at that distorted ass, like, cause green screen shit, right? Like, yeah. Anyway, so A Bug's Life is one of the more underrated Pixar movies. I definitely remember that I saw it in theaters as a kid. You know, and coming off of Toy Story, it was one of those movies that it's like, oh my god, people who did Toy Story, we gotta go see A Bug's Life. That's gonna be fucking epic, you know? So, yeah, and it was pretty good, you know? I kind of, like, didn't really consider it to be anything special, like, in the middle there, especially when it was, like, came out on, like, VHS and stuff, and, like, you know, like, I was always like, oh, well, why A Bug's Life? Why is that the one we're watching? I mean, there's, like, Toy Story and Toy Story 2, and, I don't know, maybe Monsters, Inc. at the time. I fucking don't know. But, like, specifically, sometimes, like, people would put on A Bug's Life, and I'm just like, okay, out of all of them, why that one? But, you know, coming back to it, and having seen it, you know, like, fuck, like, maybe 10 years ago or something, like, I started to get really into Pixar movies again, you know, like, having seen it a bunch of times since, it's really quite interesting, actually. It's quite interesting, actually. Yeah. What is that? That's from the Star Wars episode. It's like the what was it? The bar or something, like the land speeder goes into the bar. Anyway, every time they re-release this movie, if you look at like old footage of like the VHS and then you look at the DVD and then you look at the Blu-ray, notably like every time it looks like a fucking different movie. Like, it looks like the same movie, but it looks so different because of how well they, like, clean it up. Like, the animation looks different. And, I mean, that can be kind of said for these old Pixar movies. I know Toy Story is kind of similar, too, when they, like, clean up. You know, you, like, watch the VHS and it looks so much different than, like, the Blu-ray and stuff. But, I like it. I mean, I think it looks way better. It's just, it's amazing how they can do that, you know? But, anyway, so Bug's Life is kind of about, the main theme of A Bug's Life is kind of like, these ants need to stand up to these grasshoppers who are running their life, right? So, they don't realize that they outnumber the grasshoppers, who are only, like, 30 of them, maybe, and there's, like, thousands of ants, you know? They could easily take them out, but they're under their, like, command to, like, go and gather this food every year for them. And it puts a big strain on their time to gather food for themselves. And, you know, there's this character, Flick, kind of our main character there, who's kind of a screw-up, and, you know, he's just trying to help and make things better. He's, like, an inventor, like a Jimmy Neutron sort. Maybe not to that level, but, you know, he invents all this stuff. There's all this cool stuff out of, like, just leaves and sticks and stuff, and like he makes a telescope out of like a water drop and a, you know, like a leaf, and like it's cool. Like at first, like the princess Ada, she like doesn't really think his inventions are very helpful. She kind of goes with the crowd mentality, but as she starts to relate more to Flick, that, you know, he's kind of under this pressure of being the village idiot, you know, like, she kind of feels that as the princess, because she's like, everyone's just expecting you to screw up. So they kind of bond over that later. But anyway, so what I thought was interesting is later on, she actually she's trying to see, when they're trying to rescue Dot, the other princess, the smaller princess in the valley there, she's trying to, like, look and see what's happening, and so she makes a telescope like Flick did from earlier so that she can see. So, like, I thought that was kind of cool. shows she has some faith in him. And of course, there's this like big liar reveal thing later. I never really like it when they do those kind of storylines. Um, because there was like there's like a misunderstanding in the movie. Like he goes out to get these he goes out to get warriors to fight the grasshoppers because he screws up his machine. He sets it. Okay, first of all, that this is so stupid. Why the fuck is the leaf next to a big valley that has water at the bottom of it on these like rickety rocks? Are you fucking kidding me? Put it in the middle of your like area there. A, you have to walk less. B, you know, what the fuck is the point of that? Like, so it like falls off of there because Flick's like machine that he makes to like harvest the things better like is still vibrating as he's like going along. He's trying to run off towards the anthill there. And you know, like, so that knocks all of the food into this like ravine there, and you know he knows he's screwed up big time, but it's like this shouldn't be a problem to begin with. Any fucking person, ant or whatever, could have goddamn done that. That would have been easy to do. What are you guys thinking? What were they thinking? You know, like, I don't know why it's so AVGN centric this episode, but seriously, what are they thinking? Like, they cannot set that food, especially if it's so important to them, next to this like valley. It doesn't make any sense, like, why they would do that. So first of all, there's that. But because we need the plot to happen, that happens, and it goes off the edge there. So the grasshoppers, they were pissed, right? So they give them like the summer to get double the food, which isn't gonna happen because they don't even have double the food. But so that I don't know, they'll be happy and the hierarchy will be maintained or whatever, right? So they kind of, and they have to do this because Flick screwed up. So everyone's really mad at him, and they're like, you know, they're trying to figure out how to punish him, and he comes up with this idea to go out and find warriors to take on the grasshoppers, because the grasshoppers are the main problem here. They need to get food for themselves for the rainy season, but they can't because the grasshoppers are going to take all their food. So they need a way to finally stand up to them, you know? And Flick kind of has a moment where he tries to stand up to Hopper earlier. Hopper's like the main villain, like one of the... I don't know, like there's some bad Pixar villains. Not bad, like evil, you know, like mean, enemy kind of Pixar villains. He's definitely one of the worst ones. I don't think anybody's gonna ever fucking top Lotso because he's just an asshole. But everyone else, you know, he's kind of up within the top, like at least top 10 Pixar villains, or top 5 maybe, or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see as we go through again. But anyway, he's a bad motherfucker, you know. Especially with Kevin Spacey, that's problematic in its own right. But you know. So he's got this whole system in place to where he gets these ants to get them food so they don't have to worry, you know, they just relax the whole time, basically. So the ants are kind of like slaves to these grasshoppers. But Flick's had enough of that shit, you know, he wants to get back, he wants some warriors to fight off the grasshoppers because they don't really have enough time to gather the food anyway, so he's like, alright, well we might as well try something different, let's go get some warriors. And then they're like, they send him off thinking he'll never do it, and he comes back with these circus performers who he mistakes as warriors from earlier when they were like doing a bit to like try to ward off these guys who like kind of hated their show or whatever. And so he misunderstands this, and that's where the whole liar reveal thing comes in. So it's like this big misunderstanding. But he does keep it a secret, so he keeps lying about it. But you know, you just know it's going to come to this, like, uninteresting conclusion at a point where everyone's gonna turn their backs on Flick, and then Flick's of course gonna be the hero with the bird and, you know, make everything right. Okay, yeah, great. So that's basically all what happens, but, you know, at the end there, um, like, he's had time to, like, rally everyone up and be like, okay, we're gonna make this bird, it's a good plan, right? You know, like, everyone believes in him and shit, and they even apologize. Even the princess is like, Flick, you're not such a screw-up, you know? This is great. You're doing a good job here. But it doesn't really end up working. It kind of works until the circus owner, like, sets the thing on fire, and then they realize it's a fake bird, and then so Hopper is, like, again in control. There's a scene before that too, like a great scene where they're like, oh, why should we go back? We already have enough food. And then he's like, oh yeah, let's not even go back at all. And then he there's a whole metaphor throughout the movie too, which is kind of funny, where Flick's trying to tell Dot, like, hey, this rock is a seed or whatever, and this seed can grow into be that tree, you know? That big tree in the background there. And she doesn't really get it until, like, the end of the movie, but there's a great joke too, where she, like, hands him a rock later to, like, get him to like realize, you know, he can stand up to the bad guys or whatever. And and they're like, the circus performance is like, must be an ant thing. And so then they give the queen a rock at the end of the movie, and they're like, must be a circus thing or something, like. So it's just kind of funny. Like, the circus performers are good too. Like, they're all really decent characters, you know, for sure. They all have their own little charm there and whatnot. So, right, anyway, so there's a scene later where Hopper, like, takes one of the seeds out of this machine that they have, like, that's their big food supply or something, which is just like a jar or something, I guess. And he takes it out of there, and he, like, throws it at a guy, and he's like, did that hurt? He's like, you know, like, because he's, like, trying to he's like, there was that one ant that stood up to me, you know, Flick or whatever, and he's like, that's just one ant. All the other guys are, it's just one ant. You don't have to worry about that. So he, like, throws it. He's like, this is an ant. He throws it at him. He's like, did that hurt? He's like, no. And then he throws another one. He's like, did that hurt? He's like, yeah, fuck no. And then he, like, boom, he breaks the thing. It comes and kills 3 guys. And he's like, now, you see, this here, this is the thousands of ants, you know? They outnumber us. We're the ones in control here. We need to keep it that way, you know, because there are so many more of them than there are us, and once they figure that out, we're fucked, you know, basically. So, I like how he used a seed as a metaphor, too, just like Flick. Why is it always a seed? But I don't know. It's just nice little synergy there of your message a little bit. But, you know, I like Flick's journey, of course, him growing and realizing that he has to rally everyone together to kind of stand up to these guys, but he doesn't think he can do it because he just thinks he's a failure, because everyone keeps telling him he's a failure, because that's all everyone wants to tell him, is that he's a failure, right? So but he eventually kind of realizes, you know, it doesn't matter if he failed a bunch of times before. He can keep trying until he gets it right. You know, he's got to try, basically, you know. So, I think all that's really well executed. And the animation is, I mean, you know, everyone complains about the animation in Toy Story 1 about the humans or whatever, but, like, they didn't have any humans in this movie, so they just they went in a different direction. They had bugs, and for that, I mean, I think the animation still really holds up really well. It's a very well animated movie, and it's outside more. It's more of an adventure, you know, in a sense. A lot of it does kind of take place at the ant colony there, but there's some various other places that kind of flesh out the world a little bit more, and it's nice to see from the perspective of an ant. Like they're so small, so like big human things, or like small human things, are big to them. Um, like they have a box of animal crackers that's like one of the circus boxes, and that's like the cart for the circus, creatures or the circus bugs or whatever. So it's clever stuff like that. It's kind of cool. Um, that Pixar tree, that's in a lot of other movies, like Up, and I think that's like in Wall-E and stuff. It's in a bunch of other ones as well, so that's kind of cool. This is like the first appearance of that. Of course, the first reappearance of the Pizza Planet truck. It's in every movie except for like one of them, I think. It's not in. I wonder where the A113 is in this. I think it's in the city, when he's in the city, which is just like under some guy's like mobile home or whatever. Like, so yeah, but I don't know. It's just a good movie. It's got good animation, good characters, good messages. It's enjoyable. There's some good like laughs, but also some good tension and whatnot. Um, they have to bond together and realize that they're better than these grasshoppers. They outnumber them. That's kind of the whole thing there. So, um, they earn their freedom by the end. It's cool. And then it's cool by the end. They're also using Flick's machines so to make things more efficient for themselves, but mostly for themselves of because that's all they have to gather food for. Still using the leaf near the valley thing. That's really stupid. They shouldn't do that, but also, like, what if a human just like walks by and then like they just like fucking knock the entire fucking like food supply over, like I would have liked to have seen that. Maybe that could have been the thing or something. I don't know. But there's also that whole controversy thing between this and like Ants, which is like a stupid movie comparatively. I think this is definitely a lot better. Um, there was this whole thing that like DreamWorks stole the idea for like A Bug's Life and went off and made like an edgier version or whatever. There's a whole story behind that, but this is like an often forgot about Pixar movie. I don't think a lot of people really talk about A Bug's Life anymore. Uh, for good reason. Obviously, there's so many other great Pixar movies, but this one often gets like kind of swept under the rug. It's an underrated Pixar movie in my opinion. I do like it a lot, and it's one that has really grown on me over the years. So um, and the score is good. Randy Newman. What's a bug? Need a bug. Fucking Randy Newman shit, man. That's so. He always does good OSTs, but his songs sometimes are just like strange. They're just like too literal. I guess I don't know. But he did a good job on the score. Obviously, he's 2 for 2 at this point, 3 for 3 by the next movie. So, um, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of about it, really. It's a good movie. I like it. I think it's solid. It's well done. It's entertaining. It's just a fun watch. It's not necessarily maybe a Toy Story or a Toy Story 2 or 3 or any. It's better than Toy Story 4 for sure, but it's just it doesn't really, it's an early Pixar movie, so I feel like it gets kind of forgotten in the legacy, the what Pixar has become, the movies since, a lot of movies have sequels in Pixar too, so it's kind of like it's not really one. You could do a sequel to it. It's just, it's not one they did a sequel to, so it's very early on, so a lot of people kind of forget about it. But like I said, I like it. I think it's great. I think the aspects of all the aspects kind of come together, and if you're watching all the Pixar movies in order, it's like a good little break between Toy Story 1 and 2, and just sort of an underappreciated gem in the middle of, at the beginning of Pixar's, like, legacy, their golden years there. I mean, really, honestly, like, I do love the first several movies, but, like, when you get to, like, Up and Wall-E and, like Toy Story 3, that era is pretty good. That's like almost better. And then, like, shortly after that, you have, like, Inside Out and stuff, and so it's like, and then they start making sequels, and it's like, okay, these aren't as good as the originals, and, but I don't know. They kind of go up and down, but mostly by every metric, all the Pixar movies are good to great, except for, like, Cars 2 and, like, The Good Dinosaur, maybe, or, like, the two, like, flops, Everything else has something good going on. Even those movies have something good going on. They're just not as good as the rest, so. Yeah. It's good. I liked it. Underrated. So, I'm gonna give it an 8.9 out of 10. Bug's Life. It's underrated. Alright. Till next time, this has been Emily with the Azura Media Club. Stick around, subscribe, join the Bad Girl Coven. I'll see you guys in the next one. Never forget, magic comes from the heart. Emily, out.